So Tim Ryan spoke to MSNBC after the Democratic debate, and I have to show you this video because it highlights a key misconception in Washington, D.C. about politics and the way for Democrats to win. Watch.
Joining me now is Congressman Ryan. You were certainly up late, so welcome. I'm glad to have you this morning.
Thank you.
You were up on stage with 9 other colleagues. It was a crowded house, but you had a very different message there amidst 2 hours of overwhelmingly progressive messaging. And you said the Democratic candidate needs to pay attention to the whole country.
Yeah.
What did Ohio voters, who you know best, what did they hear?
I think there was a lot of going over their head. Who's talking about my wages? I mean, did we hear anything about wages last night? You know, we heard about raising taxes. We heard about, which a lot of us are for a lot of these things, but you've got to talk to the worker and the family that's struggling day to day. They're not talking about Trump. They're not talking about all these policies. They want to know you care about them. And that's my fear, is that we're walking down a road of, we're going to take your insurance away from you if you have health insurance. We don't understand your day-to-day activities and stresses and anxieties. And if we miss that, that's how Trump got in the first place. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Look, we just did this. And if we do it again, he's going to win again.
Okay, well, he won last time not talking about policy. He doesn't currently govern focused on policy. But last night, for all of you, it was policy focused.
Yeah.
And that is how you won the midterms. So what's the right combination?
Well, I think we won the midterms because our candidates in a lot of those races were talking about lunch bucket issues. Sherrod Brown won Ohio. We're talking about the dignity of work. The candidates, the 30 or 40 candidates that won for us to get us the majority, they were talking about lunch bucket issues. Someone gave me some really good advice when I first started politics. They said, nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. And I don't think that the working class people know that we care about them right now, and so they don't care about our policies.
So the people in Ohio who might not like the president's policies, they might not like his motivation, they like the idea of America first. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's what Democrats are giving them?
Well, no. I mean, our message is muddled. Of course we want America first, and because that means they're first. That means their family is first. That means you're going to put them first. And if we don't connect with that emotion, there's not going to be any policy. And that's what I was trying to say. If we, how are you going to beat Mitch McConnell? How are you going to win the Senate back? How are you going to win a Senate seat in Iowa? How are you going to win a Senate seat in North Carolina? How are you going to win a Senate seat? You want to go down and play in Georgia and play in Florida and play in Kansas. You want to play in Iowa. Those are lunch bucket communities.
Okay, but then last night was your shot.
Yeah.
Why not take a shot at Elizabeth Warren and say, how are you going to pay for that? You are going to rock this system and reelect the president. Why not do that? You had a moment. You had 2 hours.
Yeah, well, I had 7 minutes. And I stood up there and called out coastal elites and Ivy Leagues. I mean, I couldn't have been more direct than really a lot of people on the stage. And look, I like everybody. This is not like a personal thing. It's just like the perception of our party is coastal and Ivy League. And I called that out, and I was the only one who did it, and I'm going to continue to do it, and hopefully we'll continue to get traction.
So this highlights the clearest false dichotomy in politics that I've ever seen. They're trying to make you believe that the Democrats have a choice, and the choice is you either go for the 2 times Obama voter who then flipped to vote for Donald Trump, or you go for the Democratic base. That's the choice that they're presenting you. What are you going to do? You're going to abandon the Rust Belt worker? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to, you could either go for them or you could hold your base. You can't have both. I'm here to tell you, you absolutely can have both, and it's with one simple strategy. And it's called the populism, stupid. Populism works not just with the former 2 times Obama voter who flipped to Trump in the Rust Belt. Populism also works with the Democratic base, because what is economic populism? What is left populism? It's Medicare for all. It's free college. It's a living wage. It's ending the wars and doing an infrastructure deal here and rebuilding our own country with the money that we're wasting overseas. That's economic populism. That's left populism. That is exactly what's needed to get both of those kinds of voters. The fact that, what they're trying to do is say, well, obviously Tim Ryan represents, the Rust Belt worker a lot better. But no, Tim Ryan is a centrist. And actually, in a national election, that centrist is more likely to lose to Donald Trump in the Rust Belt. Because it turns out that those Midwestern voters don't like centrism, but they're trying to pretend like that's what the Midwestern voter is all about. And that's what the Rust Belt voter is all about. That's just not true. People want to feel like you're fighting for them. And both the Democratic base and the 2 times Obama voter who flipped to Trump in the Rust Belt, they'll know you're fighting for them when you say, let's fundamentally reform the system, and here's what we're in favor of. Medicare for all, free college, living wage, ending the wars, infrastructure deal to rebuild the country, so on and so forth. So don't buy into the false dichotomy. But that's what they're trying to do. And they're also trying to say, as you heard Stephanie Ruhle say there, like, oh, Trump, it wasn't about policy, which is, Trump didn't win because of policy, but you guys were all policy. As if it's bad to focus on policy. No, it's important to focus on policy because people aren't fucking idiots and they try to vote based on their best self-interest. So, yeah, you should focus on policy. You absolutely should focus on policy. But it's got to be the right policy. That's the most important point. It's got to be correct. Shouldn't go up there and say, I'm for means testing and changing the chain CPI on Social Security. No, you have to be a swashbuckling populist. Swashbuckling populist. And Tim Ryan is not that. So don't buy into this false dichotomy bullshit. The idea, be more centrist, and that's the only way you win the Rust Belt. Hillary Clinton was as centrist as they come for Democrats, and she lost the Rust Belt. So obviously you're wrong. But it makes you wonder, do they say this stuff because they're just trying to serve their donors, so they have no choice but to say this stuff? Or do they say it because they still believe it? They still believe that centrism is the way to go. Whatever it is, I don't care. They're wrong either way.